Welcome to the Niagara Learning Channel. It's been a while. This is video 189 and it's a job that we have just recently completed with the software and the design. It's on a MAC36 controller and the current address is 192.168.1.123. So first of all, I will start with the logic. So let's have a look at the logic. And that's not the logic wire sheet. We've got I/O modules. Let me just move that date and time logic folder out of the way. And our I/O is here. Let's just show you what I/O we have got. So we've got a MAC36 NL controller with the inputs and outputs here. We've got an 8i IP module in ISMA and we're talking to it via Modbus. Another module exactly the same, another module, and then we've got a 4i40, two of them modules. All these digital outputs here are spare on that one, and we've got a few spare points here. And we've got a few spare digital outputs there as well. So they're all going back, well, these ones are all going back to the Mac. Let's just show you that. So this is the driver's ISMA network ISMA device. These are pulse counters for meters, the digital inputs. And then we've got our universals here. And then we've got our digital outputs and our analog outputs. Right, let's go back to the software. I'll take that into there. Let's just follow that through. Right, so that's going into that gas meter there. And we've just put a value that they can adjust a minus or a positive to calibrate the meter to the actual pulses that's been recorded and the meter value. Simple logic, and that's the same for the other meters. Time clocks, I just made a time clock folder, again simple logic. These are all the time clocks for the kitchen, first floor pumps, secondary, and then there's heating zones, and then we've got a heating required depending on these time clocks if they are active. So if all the time clocks are off, there'll be no heating available. But we've got more with regard to heating. We've got the eco here, this outside air eco. So all we're doing there, we naturally got our safety in there, but the outside eco, if the outside air is above 22, plus or minus a differential of 2 degrees, so it's 1 degree either way. So if it goes to 23, then it will stop the heating, and if it goes to 21, the heating will start, providing that the safety is okay. So what we'll do is we will put the safeties on, so we'll make it so that it's safe at the moment, so it thinks it's safe. So I will enable this and enable the safety circuit, enable the gas valve, so open the gas valve, and we don't have any pressure faults, so safety is now okay. Now we have frost protection, and currently frost protection is active because of the outside air temperature sensor and the boiler flow temperatures and the space temperatures. That is simply because we don't have any sensors yet attached. But let's just put in a value for the outside air. Let's say it's 11 degrees outside, and boiler flow, we'll put that to, I don't know, 56 degrees, and we'll put the boiler return to 46 degrees, and the space temperature inside, we'll put that to say 19 degrees on that one, we'll put it to 18 degrees on that one. So now the frost protection is off on all three types, stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. So the next thing we go through with the logic, so we've done the safety, we've done the frost protection, we've done the time clocks, we've done this. So the boilers, there's 2 boilers. So we've still got our safety, our frost protection and our enable. Everything's all linked still to the safety here. So even if frost protection wants to go and safety is not on, then we have a problem. Boiler 1, 0 to 100%, boiler 2, 0 to 100%. So we don't have an on and an off, we just have a 0 to 100%. They wanted calculation on outside air, so if outside air is at 0 degrees, then we want a temperature of 80 degrees. And if the outside air is 22 degrees, we want a temperature of 20 degrees. So outside air currently is minus. So let's just put that to a value. So we'll put that to, in fact, I won't do it there. I'll do it in the I/O modules. So outside air there. Actions, emergency override. And we'll put it to 11 degrees. So there's your outside air at 11. It's calculating a 50 degree. It's on a sliding scale. So that's our set point. Our control variable, currently we don't have a temperature on the LTHW primary. We don't have a sensor connector, so we're minus. So it's shot straight up to 100% and we're running both boilers. But let's put a flow on the on this. Actions, emergency override, 58. Actions, emergency override, 48. So we can see that we've not reached set point, so we're still using a proportional constant of 2 and an integral constant of 1. As soon as set point's reached, so our control variable is our return temperature. So let's put that to 81 degrees. So set point's now reached. The set point was 50, it's gone to 81 and it's just shut everything off. Let's make that a little bit slower for you. So actions, emergency override, let's put that back to 40. So we're starting to climb up here, 59. So we've got one boiler on. The other boiler will come on when it gets to 70. I've put these little labels here just to tell me. So when it gets to 70, it's at 63 at the moment, the second boiler will come on. Let's just increase the temperature a little bit more. Oh, we're near enough at 70 now anyway. 67, 68, 69, 70. And there you go. The other boiler is now on, giving power to the other boiler. That's basically it. I've let the client have a boiler adjustable for the amount of percent they want on the boiler and the boiler minimum, which I presume that would be at 0 all the time. And he asked for a delta T, which I've done the delta T on these blocks here of 20, and they're auto adjustable. So if I change that to 10, naturally this text would be wrong then, but if I change that to 10 instead of 20, so now that will come on at 15 and it will go off at 5, and that will come on at 35 and go off at 15. No, it won't. It'll go off at 25. Half of that, 30 take away 5. It'll go off at 25. So they will then be wrong. But he asked for 20, so let's put that back to 20. And then when we've met set point, with this set point with the outside air is currently 50, so we'll just put that to 51. You see at the moment we've got a 2 and a 1 for our prop on our integral, so let me override that to 51. So set point has been reached. So that set point has now been reached, so we've now changed it to a 4 and a 2. So we've doubled the prop and we've doubled the integral. So we will quickly as starting up, we will go down. And as soon as we start going over even more, the set point, so put it to 55, it will go down faster, as you can see from that. So that's that one. I haven't overridden anything there, so I can leave that as it is. So let's go back here. This was the notes on the top of there was just from the DesOps, just for me. Our VT circuit. So again, we're using a similar system with the outside air and the low and the high. So if outside air is 0, our VT is 65. If the outside air is 22, our VT is 20. So currently the outside air is 11, so it's 42.5 degrees. We're going into our set point there. That's our control variable, which is the minimum of any of them two temperatures in the space. So let's just change the space temperatures, which is actually wrong thinking about it. It don't want to be to the space, it wants to be to the VT flow and return. So let's just cut that out and put that into the VT flow and return, and then I'll put it in the space again. And we're looking for the minimum there. So if I do VT flow actions, I'll put that over the set point. So I'll put that to say 60 degrees. And then the VT return, emergency override that, and I'll put that to say 45 degrees because our set point is currently 42.5, and then that will start winding itself down. I didn't do the changing the integral of a prop on this particular exercise because the VT valve will just modulate, trying to maintain the return temperature or the minimum, which is always going to be the return, it's never going to be the flow. So the VT valve will modulate accordingly to the temperature to maintain that temperature at 42.5 due to the outside air. If outside air increases, that temperature will go down. If outside air decreases, that temperature will go up. So let's just do that. Let's actions, emergency override, and we'll put it down to 9 degrees outside. So the current temperature is 42.5 for the set point, and now it's 46.6. So depending on the outside air temperature, depends on how much we give the valve. So that's simple enough. Let me just remove that. That's an override, VT return, and I'll set it here, the VT return, and I'll put that now to 40 degrees. Right, that's that one done for the VT. Outside air eco, I think I've explained that already. So if the outside air is above 22 plus 1, so 23, let's override that to just 24 for example. Outside air high or safety, so we know it's outside high because safety is okay. Put that back, so no heating required. Put that to 11 degrees outside air. And kitchen AHU pumps, simple time clock safety. The outside air eco, what they want to do is they want to keep the pumps running so they don't have any valves as such, but they want to keep it running for a set time of whatever they're going to input, 120 seconds. So once outside air eco has been activated, we will put a delay of 120 seconds into this off delay, so that when the pumps do turn off, we've actually got a delay on them pumps to keep it running for 120 seconds. That's only when the outside air is activated. Now when you've got a 2RM unit here, so depending on the 2RM, so 40 or 80, depends on the module that we're going to be using to switch on pump 1 or switch on pump 2. So that's your 2RM there. If we've got a fault coming in where you've adding to the existing time clock runtime, we are adding 10 nines, so that if it's faulty, A, you won't be able to run the pump anyway because we've also tied it into this, and B, if we're selecting a pump, it's not going to select that pump, it's going to always select the minimum runtime, which is always going to be not the pump that's in fault. Let me just show you what I mean. So if we enable pump 1, so at the moment we're running pump 2 because that was the minimum, 5 minutes there, pump 2. So let's put pump 2 into fault. So pump 2 is now in fault. It's naturally switched to pump 1. But let me just cut that to stop it. So we're now false and we're not running any pumps at all. And if I put this, if I clear that alarm state, if you see pump B runtime, it's 115 days now because we've just added in them 10 nines onto that runtime. So when I go to start, it's always going to run A in this scenario because A, it's the less runtime, and B, it knows we can't run B because we've tied it in here, so pump B will never ever start. Let's put that back to normal again. So now if I stop it there and then enter it again, pump B is the lowest time, so pump B will start, which it has done. And then the feedback is just this greater than 10, which is just the output of the 2RM greater than 10 using that module. Right, let's go back. This is the same for this one and this one. There is no difference. They're exactly the same logic in each one of them. And if you want to just see the logic, just pause the video and you can see the logic here. And that is it, apart from these zones and hot water. Now we're not controlling, we're only controlling a secondary pump, which is there. The primary is just controlled with an on and off switch on the panel, and we're not doing anything with these temperatures, so there's no set point. They're standalone units. So we still got our safety, we still got our enable. Safety mainly for pressure. If we've got low pressure, we don't want to be running that pump, but we also don't want to run it in a fire alarm situation either. And these boilers are gas, so if the gas valve's closed, we don't want to be running the pump as well. And then of course we've got the safety circuit, which if someone's got their hand trapped in there, even though it's a small pump as such, we don't want to be running that. So that's simple logic. Now the heating zones, we've got 8 zones, they're all the same. So we have a time clock for the zone. We naturally got the safety tied into it. We've also got if outside air is greater than the set point, which was, I think was 22. So we've got that will basically carry on keeping that valve open until the pump stop. Heating valve selected. Now the user has got a remote switch where they can switch on the heating remotely regardless of the situation, or switch off the heating remotely regardless if it's heating or cooling. So we've tied that into the system, and we've naturally tied the safety in, so the remotes are only working for safety is healthy, which they are. So at the moment we've got the pump on, but if someone at that area for zone 1 wants the heating off, we can activate it and that pump goes off. And also, if we don't, say the time clock's not on, so let's turn the time clock off, and if someone in that area wants, oh, I'm a bit cold, I want the pump on, that will switch the pump on. Simple enough logic again there, and that's the same for all 8 zones. Now we'll look at the graphics. Now we're using a 10-inch screen on a front of the panel, so the graphics are quite simple, and they are also a certain size, 800 deep in pixels by, I think it's 102, I can't remember now. Let's just pick up a graphic. And let's just click on that. 1280 by 800 is the size of all the pages. So that's the boiler page. We've got our VT there, and you see in here, this is your heating side, this is your outside air, and it's on a sliding scale. So depending on what your outside air is, depends on what the gas boilers will be producing. And you can adjust these either by clicking on that, so I can put that to 70. That will adjust that. I've got that overridden at the moment, but so that's 45 now. Or we can click on these. With it being a touch screen, I thought it was wise that we put a plus and a minus in there, so we can easily use this to adjust rather than trying to click on that, get the keyboard, put in a temperature, a value. So there's your outside air down at the bottom there on your sliding scale, your blue line. This is a bit of a blue dashed line here. This is your heating dash line. This is telling you what the temperature is. Yes, we've got the outside air there, and we've also got it there, but I thought I might as well just put it there so we know what we're actually using, what we're trying to control here. If a gas boiler goes into fault, we'll have a light come on there, an icon come on there, so let's put it in fault. See the icon there that's come up, emergency auto. And then depending on the gas boiler percentage, that will put a flame on. So if I put the gas boiler to, I don't know, 10%, there's your gas boiler flame. Put that back to auto, emergency auto. So we've got a pressure fault at the moment, and we've got gas valve closed. So let's go into our I/O, and let's sort out these actions, emergency active, actions, emergency active, actions, emergency active, and our fire alarm is here, actions, emergency active. So that's done there, that's done there. So boiler flow is 58, 55, our set point is at 50. Let's just put our outside air down a little bit more. Let's put to 10 degrees outside air. So we've gone up to 52 now, which isn't a lot really. Actions, emergency override, put our outside air down at 4 degrees. So now our set point's at 69. And we have 55 and 58, and this boiler is starting to work. You can see it creeping up now. Right, so that is that done. Again, that's our outside air eco stop heating set point. Hot water system. Now we're not controlling the hot water. These are standalone buffer vessels, nothing to do with us. We're not controlling any of this whatsoever. All we're controlling is the secondary pump. We're not even controlling the primary pump. Hence, that's why I've just got that as healthy. The time clock is just for the secondary pump. That's what they asked for in the description of operation. So that's what they've got. So none of these we are controlling. All I've done is added these to the time clock. That's the pump running there. I'm just going to edit mode a minute. You can see that's my pump fault there. That's my pump enabled status there. Pump enabled. And there's my two graphics, left off and left on. And that should be actually on. You says we need to get a left on the pump graphic. I'll sort that out in a bit. Put that back over there. Take that one and that one and put that on as well. And I can put, that is for primary pump 1 and that is for primary pump 2. Pump fault. Yeah, sorry, they're all for the second. That one is primary pump 1 fault, and that's primary pump fault there. And this one is secondary fault, and that's secondary fault there. So if we go into fault, emergency active, wrong one, emergency active, we get the fault light coming up there. Emergency auto, emergency auto. Just want to just double check that. I don't have. Oh yeah, I've got it. Pump. That's pump left. I want actually pump right. So I'm going to go into there and change that to pump right. So that is pump right off. Control key C, Control key V, and that's pump right on. And the same with this, not that one, the same with this one as well. Control key V. Really? This is my Mac there. Go back to where I was. Control key C, Control key V. That's off, sorry. And that is on. actually should be left, and that should be right. So let's just see what have I got in there. I don't want the fault. This is showing you how I've done the graphics. So that's right, that really should be left. And that should be left. But I don't think we've got a left, so let's just bring it across into the controls. So we've got a palette for that. I ain't got palette activated on this version of 4.8, so I'll have to do that on another version. Let me I can do it while you're still on. I don't need to put you on pause. Let me come out of edit mode there, and let me minimize that down. Let me run 4.15. I think 4.15's actually got the palette on it. Right, so that's loaded. File, open, open station. 192.168.1.123. Accept. Right, we were in the graphics, weren't we? PX. I think we was in the VT. I could be wrong. Let's see whether we've got the module here. There it is. And I want, see what we've got here. So that's totally different. So that's the right on and off. We weren't in VT, was we? We was in the other one. And that's the right on and off. And we was in domestic hot water. That's the only one that's got the, to my knowledge, the left pump. So this one is the right, yeah, and this one is the left. But if I click on that, I haven't got it there, and I click on that, and I do have the left off there, but that's all I've got. I want the left on. So now if I go to my pumps down here, and I want left on, drag that across. That's now added the files in there. I can now delete that. That's right, which is okay. Left. That's still saying it's not seeing it because it's pumps, pump left on. It's this one. So I put the wrong files across. Now delete that. Now look for it. And it should be there. pump left on. So these two I can delete. So I will delete them in a minute. Pump left on. Come out to edit mode. Go into my controller, files. The library for the graphics and pumps. And I can get rid of that and get rid of that because they're not used on the graphics. So what I'm trying to see now is why this pump is not working like this one is. That is because I've edited. Now that's the pump left off, so that's correct. So that can go back in there. Put it at the bottom. So this is my other pump. Pump left on. Yeah. Pump left off. Yeah. And that enable is actually component chooser there, secondary pump. Move it across there, reorder to top, take that fault which is there, reorder that to top and place that at the bottom, reorder to bottom. So that's that done there. Right, so that should now work, and it doesn't look like that pump is running, so I need to look into that and find out why, because it should be running. We are enabling it. True value, that is all correct. Let me refresh. Still not running. That's strange. I don't seem to have a graphic there, do I? Pump left on. Ah, it hasn't put the value there. I don't have a graphic for it. Got pump left on. That one, I don't have a graphic for it. I've got graphics there, but that one, I don't have a graphic. So it hasn't brought it across for some unknown reason. Cancel, cancel, cancel. So let's go to pumps. Pump left on. Delete that again. Drag that across. Yeah, it's not bringing the graphic across. So that must be a problem with that system there, where if I do a pump left off, it brings it across. And I don't think I've got another one that I can use. That's to do with the pump set, that, I believe. See, that's not the same picture as that, so I can't use that. So what I'm going to have to do is delete that, and I'm just going to have them both the same. Pump right on, pump right off, and have this bottom as pump right off. And then put that over the top. Take that, reorder it, and put it to the top. And then I'm going to get rid of that one, that one, that one, and that one. Delete. So I'm just using pump right on them all. And now it's running. So I have to leave that as it is. The gas boilers, there's no pumps there for that. VT system, we're running on that pump. We're running on that pump for the floor pumps. Kitchen pumps, that's just our meters. Frost protection, and if we do, a graphic will come up here, so let's just put that down to emergency auto. He says emergency auto, emergency auto. They're already down at them. We have a graphic here that should pop up. Outside air frost, but it's disabled at the moment. But I was wondering why outside air frost protection is disabled. So let's have a look at the logic. Config, logic, outside air. It's true, true, true. Yeah, outside air low. Oh, that's our eco. I want frost. Frost protection. That's the reason why I overrid them in here when I was showing you. Let's just take off all them overrides. Right, now go back to the graphic. Frost protection. There we go. So we've got that there. If I put outside air, I can just do it there because it's going to be the same point. Emergency override. Put that to 2 degrees. That frost then goes out. And it does the same with these. One should put it over 16 for this one and put it over 25 for that. They would go out. Emergency auto. So that's that. I also made a page with all the I/O on it, just for engineer use, that's all, so he can quickly look at his temperature sensors all around. Let's just put that to auto. And of course you can take out anything that's overridden. Auto, 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 auto. So everything is back to normal again now. That page should have come up there. Let me just refresh that. There we go. And then the zones, they're all exactly the same. So we've just got our VT temperatures going into a valve, and like I said, they've got remote system where they can turn it on and turn it off remotely. So that's just showing that. So if it is on, that just moves across like so. Emergency auto. Again, the off delay for that valve. You don't need them up here because you've already got them here on the graphic, but I've left them there. If they want to delete it, they can delete it, either this if they want to. I think that is it. This is the same for all the time clocks, and all the time clocks are shown here as well, as you've seen before. Domestic hot water pump, I put a note there. The hot water time clock does not turn the water heaters off. There's only turns domestic hot water secondary pump off. And I've positioned it in such a way that if you go to any of them tabs, you can still see that. Also with the AHU, air handling unit, pumps, BMS does not control the AHU, so to be safe, the times need to be set to come on 1 hour before and 1 hour after the kitchen closes. And then the home page is just got the boiler temperatures. This will take you straight to the boiler graphic. This will take you straight to the HWS graphic, and this will take you straight to the heating graphic. And you've got your set points there, your calculated set points. And that is it. The schedulers, we've got a date there of what day it is, which is the 3rd of December. You've got your alarms here. So there's all your alarms coming in, which you've also got it from this side as well, if they wanted to. And your schedulers, you've also got from this side as well, if you want to. You don't have to go to the top. The key, that's just a pop-up to tell you what the colour backgrounds mean. Home takes you straight to the home. And this here, the schedulers, let me just show you how I did that one, because it's got like afternoon admin there. And whatever the login name is, it will put it there. I haven't actually logged in as admin. But if we go to our date and time folder, it's a standard I put on all my sites. I take the current time, make them all string writables. So I've actually got the time separate, the day value separate, which I'm using in the calendar there. I've got the day name, and I've got the period, whether it's afternoon or morning or evening, and that's from this one here. Calculate the evening there. If you want to do this yourself, just pause this, and then you can basically copy this exact logic. And the same with pausing this, and you can copy the exact logic if you want to. It's easy enough. You just got your time string separated there. You can see I've used 11 and 16, which is giving you, from all this, it's giving me that time there. And if you was using the day, 8 and 10, so again from all this, I've just got the 8 and the 10, so it's giving me a 3, which is that bit there. You just count it in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the month, 5 and 7, these two here, and the year, 0 to 4, these 4 here, them 4. And then the minutes, again I'm using 14 to 16 there. I could have actually just, the hours, 11 and 13, to give me the hours, which is 15 hours at the moment. And my seconds, 17 and 19. And then I can split them out and do different things with them. Calculate day, so it's a Wednesday, which it is a Wednesday today. That's a little bit more in this folder because you've got folders within folders, so I'm inputting the day, the month, the year. I've done another video on that, and I think that is the video before 188 that you may want to look at, because you can see it gets a little bit more in depth. But once you've done it, the year, using modulus there, modulus 7, leap year, calculate whether it's a leap year or not. Again, just pause that and then you can just copy that. Georgian Julian, again you can just pause it again and copy that. But it basically works out what the day is, because we don't have a block that works out the day, even though you can go into your calendar and it works out the day for you. So if I go there, go to time clocks and go into there, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so it knows that we are on Wednesday at the moment. But yeah, it doesn't actually tell us or give us the day. So unless someone's done it differently, which I'd be interested to know how they've done it, this tells us what day it is, and it's there, Wednesday, telling us the day there. Not that you should know what day it is. Okay, I think that is it for this one. Thank you for watching. Near enough an hour. Thank you very much.